Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take a stack of critical source material and really pull out the actionable insights you need to stay ahead.
It's great to be here, especially for a topic like this. If you're running any kind of complex workflow, particularly in healthcare, today's discussion is, well, it's foundational.
Absolutely. And just so everyone knows, this is the second part of our series, focusing specifically on the challenges of healthcare enrollment.
A really critical area.
It is. And before we get into the nuts and bolts, just a quick reminder for you. If you find this kind of deep analysis valuable, please head over to YouTube, find the Defrilex podcast channel, subscribe, and definitely hit that notifications bell.
We drop new deep dives every week. You don't want to miss them.
It's your shortcut to being the most informed person in the room, without reading a dozen reports yourself.
I'll get the goal.
Exactly. So today, we are cracking open a really critical source that details the core operational breakdowns. We're talking about the 3 big failure points that just routinely sabotage healthcare enrollment.
It leads to huge delays, administrative waste, all of it.
Right. And our mission here is to extract the practical insights you can use immediately, whether you manage patient experience, enrollment operations, or support teams. This is for you.
And we really have to stress the stakes here. These aren't just frustrating little glitches.
No, not at all.
When enrollment operations fail, it's not just an internal problem. It directly impacts an applicant's ability to get access to necessary medical care. The process itself becomes the barrier.
That's a perfect way to put it. So we've organized our dive into 3 parts. First, we'll unpack the struggle with consistency, then the confusion around who owns what task.
And the confidence strain that causes.
Yes. And finally, the role of all those little manual steps in creating massive delays. And please stay with us until the end. We've got a final thought on how you can prioritize fixing these issues right away.
Okay, let's start at the foundation then. Consistency.
All right, let's unpack this. Our source material points to this foundational issue that quietly undermines everything: operational consistency. And it looked at it through the lens of standard operating procedures, or SOPs.
Right, and the first breakdown, our source's flag is, it's a big one, missing or outdated SOPs.
So it's not just that they don't exist, they're around, they're just old.
They're old, they're dusty, most places have them, but think about the environment. Healthcare rules change constantly. Your software gets an update. If the official SOP doesn't reflect that, what happens?
The frontline teams, they're just stuck. They have to improvise.
Exactly. They have to. They create what the source calls local workarounds.
And so why should you, listening to this, really care about some dusty SOPs? This is where it gets really interesting.
It moves beyond just inefficiency.
Way beyond. The result is you get different outcomes for different applicants. And that creates a massive equity issue, not to mention all the internal friction.
This is the core problem. That lack of consistency, born from all these little individual adjustments, it fundamentally undermines the whole process right from the start.
One person gets their application processed one way.
And someone else gets a completely different experience, maybe a stricter one, based on a 6-month-old rule. Suddenly you've got 2 applicants being treated unequally.
And you can't scale that. You can't audit it.
You can't.
Yeah.
It becomes impossible. If there's an error, how do you trace it back? There's no single source of truth for what the process should have been. It prevents any kind of real quality control.
So that lack of consistency really is the first domino to fall.
It is. And it leads directly into the second major breakdown, which is all about workflow and confidence.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So we're moving to the second major breakdown, which really speaks to that applicant journey. It's not a single step. You have the front office, verification, the enrollment specialists.
A lot of handoffs. And that's where the source identifies the next failure point: unclear task ownership across teams.
The handoff.
Yes. When the ownership of that next step is ambiguous, the process it stalls. The application goes into what you could call a digital limbo.
And confidence dips. I saw that phrase in the source, and it really stood out. Confidence dips on both sides.
It's a powerful idea, isn't it? What's so fascinating is how that internal confusion becomes an external problem almost instantly.
How does the applicant even sense that? They can't see the internal emails.
No, but they see the delays. They see days turn into weeks. They call in for a status update and get the runaround. One department says, oh, we sent it to verification.
And then verification says, well, we're waiting on the enrollment team.
Precisely. They get conflicting answers. And immediately, their confidence in the entire system just plummets. They start to wonder if their application is lost, if anyone is actually working on it.
Which can lead to them just giving up,
Yeah.
application drop-offs,
Yeah.
or maybe worse, they start calling constantly.
Right. You get these high-emotion, frustrated calls that clog up your support lines, which takes time away from people who need actual help.
So every single department plays a role, but the failure point is often in the space between the roles.
It's the handoff.
Hmm.
How clearly defined is that handoff process in your operation? That's the question this breakdown forces you to ask. It's not about people not doing their jobs. It's about the system not clarifying whose job it is to carry the baton next.
Okay, which brings us perfectly to the third operational weakness. This one often seems small, but the cumulative effects are just massive.
Uh-huh. The small things that add up.
We're talking about manual steps that cause preventable delays.
This is the silent killer of efficiency. A single manual follow-up email, a misreminder call. On its own, it's nothing. But multiply that across hundreds or thousands of applications.
It becomes a huge bottleneck for the entire operation. It's like death by 1,000 clicks.
It really is. And the source points to the usual suspects. Sending status updates manually, pinging a team member because a file's been sitting in their queue too long. These are repetitive, low-value tasks that just eat up human attention.
And the fix our sources point to is pretty clear.
It is. Automating small tasks. And this isn't about some huge, expensive IT project.
No, it's strategic.
It's strategic. We're talking about simple automations. A tool that automatically sends a reminder if a document hasn't been submitted in 3 days. Something that auto-logs when a file moves from one stage to the next.
That immediately frees up your staff.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, automation here isn't about replacing people. It's about letting your people do the work that actually requires a human.
You want your experts focusing on complex cases, on direct communication with applicants who are confused.
Exactly. You free up your teams to focus where nuance and empathy matter most, not on being a data entry clerk. Let the machines handle the repetitive clicks.
So let's put it all together then. We've got a system where inconsistency from outdated SOPs
Leads to stalled processes
Yeah.
because no one's sure who owns the next step,
and that confusion creates a reliance on manual checks and follow-up.
which then creates these huge bottlenecks and delays. It's a cascading failure. The three breakdowns feed each other.
They really do, and together they create this significant wall of friction for the applicant.
Okay, let's recap the key takeaways here. The three big operational breakdowns are missing SOPs causing inconsistency, unclear task ownership causing stalls, and all those preventable manual delays that kill your throughput.
And the source material offers a great call to action that you can use internally.
It does. Just ask your team, which one of these breakdowns feels most familiar? Which one is causing the most pain in our operation right now?
Finding that weakest link is always the fastest path to making a real improvement.
Absolutely.
And we want to leave you with one final provocative thought. It builds on that third breakdown, those manual steps.
Okay.
If you had to pick one single manual step in your process to automate this week, just one, what would it be? And how much time would that immediately free up for your teams to do the human-centric work?
That's a powerful question, because that one small win can build the momentum you need for bigger changes down the line.
It really can. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it was useful. And if you want to keep getting these kinds of insights,
Make sure you go to the Defrilex podcast channel on YouTube.
subscribe, activate those notifications. We post new deep dives every single week.
We look forward to diving in with you again next time.
Until then, keep digging for those operational wins.